The Rise of a Business Tycoon, A Tale of Habits. Once upon a time, there was a man named Thomas who grew up in a small town. From a young age, he learned the value of hard work. His father, a mechanic, taught him to fix engines and repair cars. Early in his life, Thomas discovered that consistent work, however small, could lead to big results. But this wasn't something he immediately understood. At first, he struggled with distractions and inconsistencies. After high school, he moved to the big city, determined to build something for himself. Thomas had dreams of becoming a successful entrepreneur. He had big ideas but found it difficult to stay focused. He would jump from project to project without following through on any of them. At times, he'd get discouraged, thinking perhaps he just wasn't cut out for success. However, after years of struggling, Thomas came across a book titled The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It opened his eyes to the science behind how habits are formed and how they can be transformed. He learned about the habit loop, a three-part pattern that includes a cue, a routine, and a reward. With this understanding, he began to experiment with his own behaviors, consciously forming new habits to replace the old ones that were holding him back. The journey to mastery. Thomas started by looking at the most impactful areas of his life, his business and personal productivity. He realized that his mornings were chaotic. He often hit snooze multiple times, scrambling to get to work late, feeling frazzled, and starting the day on a negative note. Recognizing that mornings set the tone for the rest of the day, he began by restructuring his morning routine. Each day, he would wake up early and spend the first 30 minutes meditating. This gave him clarity and helped him focus on what mattered most. He followed this with a healthy breakfast and a brisk walk around the block. His routine was simple but intentional. Over time, waking up early became automatic. His energy levels improved, and he started his days feeling more in control. His mind was clearer, and he could think more strategically. This newfound morning routine allowed Thomas to dedicate more time to his business. He began to break his tasks down into smaller, manageable chunks. Each task was paired with a reward, perhaps a cup of coffee after completing a big project or a walk in the park after a successful meeting. By reinforcing his new habits with rewards, Thomas solidified his productivity. The key was consistency. Over the span of several months, these small actions, done day in and day out, began to compound. His productivity skyrocketed. He began closing deals more quickly, and his business gained traction. But it wasn't just about professional success. Thomas became a more disciplined person in every aspect of his life. From exercise to diet, his habits aligned with his goals. The shift in perspective. One evening, while sitting at his desk, Thomas reflected on the power of habits. He realized that the habits he had intentionally built were not just about achieving goals, they were about creating a mindset. He had cultivated a mindset of growth and perseverance. Through daily habits, he had reprogrammed his brain to think in terms of progress, rather than being overwhelmed by challenges. What started as small shifts in his routine had transformed his entire approach to life. However, Thomas wasn't immune to setbacks. There were still days when his willpower was tested, when old habits tried to creep back in. But instead of getting discouraged, he used these moments as learning opportunities. He realized that the true power of habits lay in their flexibility. He could adapt them to his evolving goals. When something wasn't working, he simply analyzed the habit loop and made adjustments. Over time, he built resilience, understanding that setbacks were part of the process. The ripple effect. As his business flourished, Thomas noticed a change in his personal life as well. His relationships grew stronger, and his interactions with family and friends were more present and meaningful. He attributed this to his ability to show up consistently, not just in his work, but in his emotional availability. He had created habits of empathy, active listening, and kindness that made him a better partner and friend. Over the years, his habits had done more than just lead him to success. They had reshaped the fabric of his life. His story wasn't just about becoming a business tycoon. It was about realizing that small, positive habits can have an enormous ripple effect on every area of life. The legacy of habits. In the end, Thomas knew that the key to his success was not a single moment of inspiration or a one-time effort. It was the consistency of his habits, the ability to make small, deliberate changes in his routine, one step at a time, had set him on the path to success. He often shared his story with others, explaining that anyone could improve their life by focusing on the habits that governed their day-to-day existence. By the time Thomas was much older, his company had grown into a global brand. But his true legacy was the realization that habits shape our destiny. Whether good or bad, they define who we are and where we're headed. The habits he had cultivated over the years had allowed him to unlock a better version of himself, and that was worth more than any material success. The power of habits lies in their ability to transform our lives in subtle yet profound ways. What might seem like small changes, waking up earlier, drinking more water, or setting aside time for a hobby, can snowball into life-changing shifts over time. By mastering the habits that align with our values and goals, we unlock the potential to create the life we truly want.